Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Humane Society of Macomb's Ask a Trainer webinar. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. You're listening using your computer's speaker system by default. If you would prefer to join over the phone, just select telephone in the audio pane and the dial-in information will be displayed. You will have the opportunity to submit text questions to our trainer by typing your questions into the questions pane of the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect these and address them during the session as time permits. And I'd like to go ahead and welcome today's trainer, Jamie.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. This is our first Q&A with a trainer for Humane Society of Macomb. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Janie Desjou. I've been affiliated with Humane Society of Macomb in a volunteer employee capacity since 2016. I'm currently the volunteer coordinator, and I am a certified trainer through Animal Behavior College since 2018. I do have 2 dogs of my own that I adopted from Humane Society of Macomb. I have an 11-year-old pit bull and a 5-year-old French-American bulldog mix. So today, we're going to be talking about separation anxiety. Namely, we're going to be talking prevention and some counterconditioning if your dog already exhibits signs of mild separation anxiety. I do just want to start by saying if your dog is experiencing severe separation anxiety, please speak to your veterinarian, someone who can refer you to a behaviorist or a certified professional with lots of experience in working with separation anxiety. You don't want to try techniques that may backfire and make the problem worse. With cases of severe separation anxiety, you're going to need a treatment plan that will be tailored, specifically to your dog's individual needs. Sometimes, these issues may even require medication treatment. So the following that I'm going to give you, it's not a one-size-fits-all, but it may help with prevention and management, especially with everyone getting back to work shortly here. So with the sheltering in place order in effect, our dogs are going to be at risk for developing separation anxiety when our schedules go back to normal. So why do dogs experience separation anxiety? First of all, they're pack animals, so they do feel safety in numbers. They're highly social animals, and they enjoy the company of their human counterparts. So it's likely that they're going to undergo an adjustment period. And we're going to talk about some of the telltale signs of separation anxiety and what we can do about them. So separation anxiety can be mild or it can be severe. Mild separation anxiety will manifest for a short period of time after you, the human, leave, while separation anxiety that's severe could last for hours after you leave. So some of the signs or the symptoms of separation anxiety, you might find that your dog is eliminating, so inappropriate elimination. It could be, like if your dog is in the crate, maybe they're eliminating like being in the crate or something like that, but they're house trained. So that right there is a telltale sign. If they're left to free roam, they might even go on your bed. They might defecate on your bed or something like that. So, different things that they might do. The accidents that they have in the house could be near the exits of the home of where you left. So look out for things like that. That'll be more of an indication that it's separation anxiety that you're dealing with. Barking and howling. The barking and howling related to separation anxiety, it's possible that in severe cases, it might last for hours, and it doesn't really seem to be triggered by anything but the dog being left alone for periods of time. In less severe cases, it could last for a few minutes before the dog kind of just gives up. So other things, other symptoms of separation anxiety, you'll see kind of like destructive behavior in the house. So that is, chewing at door frames, windowsills, all related to exits and entrances of the home, destroying household objects when they're alone. So, just those destructive tendencies. But sometimes it could even be your personal items. So if you notice that your dog is, and you don't understand why, but they're tearing up, pillows, they're tearing up the couch, maybe they go for, your own personal items. It's something that smells heavily of you. So that's why they would go for that and chew on that. It's kind of like a way for them to relieve stress. So if you're wondering why they do that, they're really just seeking out items that reek of you. So basically, we'll talk a little bit about preventing your dogs from developing separation anxiety. So really important right now, many of you may be working from home or laid off temporarily. Either way, it's possible that you've been with your dog during this 6-week period, nonstop, 24/7. So we call that kind of like the Velcro dog. So it's really important that we start maintaining a routine and a schedule, even when you are working from home or you're just at home. So things like the dog's meals, daily activity and walks, you want to schedule those things for around the same time as you did before you started sheltering in place. And if you weren't before, I would highly recommend starting the day with physical activity before you leave. So physical activity that, can be a really great, de-stressor for the dog. So maybe, before you leave for the day, take the dog on a nice, like a brisk walk. Make sure to allow the dog plenty of opportunities to get their sniff on. If you have a playful dog, try to get them really engaged in like a vigorous game of fetch or tug. Allow them that outside time. You can even have like a 5-minute training session in your backyard before you leave. It's also super important that the dog has mental stimulation as well. So you can try, what I would recommend, try practicing your dog's recall command in the backyard. Intersplice with some sit, stay, down, stay, focus exercises. Even that 5 minutes, you'd be surprised, will really just tire them out. And if you do need tips on how to work on these commands, you can always search for positive reinforcement-based training tips online. If you are continuing to work from home, so if you're working from home this week, I strongly suggest that you start implementing some alone time for your dog, especially if they haven't had it yet. So this is time that they're completely away from the family unit while you're at home. So what you can do is you can create just a comfortable place in your home for your dog to spend time away from the family. Think of it kind of as like a quiet time or a nap time for a kid. You want to have them in a separate room or crated in a separate room with the door closed, or you can use a baby gate. What I would suggest is, you can play some calming music or TV so the dog's not listening to your every move around the house. That could make some dogs more anxious. Personally, what I do is I go on YouTube and I find nature videos with calming music. So my dog Boston, he gets to watch like deep sea creatures swimming around, and there's some new age music and like a really soothing voice of the narrator. And what I'll do is, I'll clean up around the house. It'll be like his quiet time. So I clean up around the house, like I might go in the backyard, mow the lawn, clean up the garage, things of that nature, just so that we can have that break from each other. And it is really important to wean them off being on top of us 24/7. And some dogs, it really does help them to relax, with the background noise. If your dog can and will eat when you're away, offer up a high value, safe chew, a puzzle toy that is stuffed with something delicious, whether that be like peanut butter or spray cheese. I would say it's something that lasts at least 15 to 30 minutes. Separation anxiety tends to happen within the first 15 minutes of
Janie, Janie,
yeah.
Can I just jump in really quick? We had a question from somebody about the breaks that you're mentioning. How often should they be given those breaks?
Well, I would suggest to start that you do that at least once a day for a short period of time. So introduce it slowly, and we are going to go over that a little bit more. So, but yeah, I would definitely say to start at least once a day, and especially on those days that you would normally be working. So even if it's just like, let's say like half an hour to an hour of alone time away from the family, I would definitely start with that. Okay. Thanks. So the separation anxiety will usually occur within that 15 minutes of the owner leaving. So what you can do, like I said, if your dog can and will eat while you're away, make sure to choose, a safe, interactive chew, something that's easily digestible. So there are a number of things. You can do bully sticks, you can do tendons, trachea. If you're a little like short on cash, another thing that you can do is you can take something that we do at the shelter. You can take a cereal box or like a paper towel roll, and you can make it into a toy. You can stuff it with their favorite treats. You can smear peanut butter on it, and basically let them, kind of figure out how to rip it apart and get the treats that are inside. Tongs are obviously another great thing. You can freeze them. It just, it's going to take that extra time, especially if you have, a heavy chewer. So if your dog is likely to finish something very quickly, freezing a Kong, with like banana and peanut butter, could be like a good solution for you. So really important for tips on basically when you're leaving the house. Try not to make a big deal about coming and going. We don't want to trigger any anticipation or have the dog start to panic. So when we make a big deal about coming home, for example, we're just reinforcing the excitement of being reunited with the dog. So as hard as it is, to get home and you see your dog and you're actually really excited too, and you want to be like, what did I buy? And you want to roll around with them and everything. It's a necessary step for the dog to learn that he's okay without you and nothing has changed since you got back. So don't make it a party. And we talked about at least once a day, especially on the days that you're going to be working. Try leaving the house without your dog. So even if you are working from home, even if it means for you just going for a drive, taking a walk, basically just get out of the house for short periods of time to get them used to you not being around. That being said, so for those of you that are working from home and you have, alone time for your dogs while you are in the home, it's really important to remember, and I'm sure some of you already know this if you've experienced it, not all dogs are going to be comfortable knowing that you're in the house and they can't have access to you. While there are some dogs that are actually better just being left at home alone. So in the case that your dog is super anxious about being apart from you in the house, try to wait them out if they bark and cry. This should only last for about a few minutes if the separation anxiety is mild. If it's more severe and you notice that, they start to urinate, defecate, they're digging, then you definitely will have to try something else. But you will have a better chance that the dog will go to sleep if you follow the above steps before giving them their alone time. So if you have been at home with your dog for the last 6 weeks, now is a really good time to start kind of gently weaning your dog off having unlimited access to you. But go slow. And if it's really not working out when the family is at home and the dog's in another room, at least practice leaving the house for a short period of time each day. And if you're unsure of how your dog reacts while you're out, you can always try recording him while you're away. You can kind of see what behaviors he's displaying. And most importantly, of course, want to remind everybody, you don't want to scold or punish your dog for, exhibiting those symptoms of separation anxiety. Your dog is just trying to communicate with you. Just imagine having an anxiety attack and someone starts yelling at you. It's just going to make everything worse. So if you punish your dog for those behaviors, it's likely that the problem will become worse. So try as best as possible to focus on solutions and follow the steps that we just went over. And if your dog already has separation anxiety, you might want to try doing some counterconditioning. That might reduce or resolve the problem. So what counterconditioning is it's just a treatment that changes the association. So if the dog is fearful or anxious about something, then we're trying to change that reaction to a more relaxed and pleasant experience. And how that's done is it's done by associating the presence of something that is feared. So in this case, the situation of being left alone with something really good and something that the dog loves. So over time, your dog is going to learn that this situation that he feared, it's actually predicting something good for him. So in this case, if your dog does eat food, just for example, having that time alone in a room or in a crate, which I suggest, it's going to equal, it's going to predict like, okay, this is coming for me. This good thing is coming for me. I'm going to have my bully stick. I'm going to have my trachea. Okay. So we did have a couple of questions that I just wanted to go over real quick that we had from Facebook. So this one was from Mary Kay, and it was about her dog, Buddy. And it was regarding, so basically she leaves her dog with a treat and he never touches it when they're gone. It used to help. They got him at first in 2010 and it helped his separation anxiety, but she noticed that with age, he's starting to tear up the house. So she's hoping that there's things that she can try and do to help him with his stress levels when he's alone. So I thought that was a really great question. And I just wanted to bring up some of the physical changes that our pets might go through as they age. So it is normal for separation anxiety to get worse because as our pets get older, they might experience hearing and vision changes. So this dulling of their senses can actually cause them to feel less secure in their environment, especially if they're alone. So I would definitely consult with your veterinarian about any age-related changes to see if they might be a factor in his increasing separation anxiety, and whether any remedies or supplements would be appropriate in this case. If Buddy isn't touching any food while you're away from the house, he's most likely too stressed to eat, as I had mentioned. So I would try something super high value, something he doesn't normally get when you're home. So, for example, maybe you leave him with a bully stick or a trachea. I'm not sure what you leave him with normally. But obviously, you know what's like an appropriate chew for your dog's style and diet. And then when you're, introducing anything new, you may want to monitor for the first time. So maybe if you have Buddy in a separate room and you leave him with a treat, see how he reacts, see if he goes for it. It sounds like Buddy is patrolling the house while you're away. So as for the tearing up of the house, I would, definitely consider whether you would like to confine him to one. It doesn't sound like he's crate trained and he's a little older, so maybe consider confining him to one room in the house with a baby gate. Try that out. Try it out while you're in the home, see how it works out. It's definitely, it's not too late for Buddy. Just try to start making those positive associations about that alone time. So giving him those high value treats and, maybe even playing like a little bit of, music, something that will help to settle him. We had another question. Give me one sec here. I haven't talked this much in a while. So we had a question from Lorraine from Facebook, and she was letting us know that her dog has separation anxiety. And when she leaves for work, she'd use a speaker to play the radio. And now when she uses the same speaker at home, her dog tends to get anxious and start shaking. And she was wondering if she's associating the speaker with her being gone. And is it possible that playing the radio could make it worse when I go back? And she says, are radios as helpful as I've been told? So, it sounds like your dog is associating the radio with you leaving, which is very normal. Dogs are very quick to make associations like that. So what I would suggest for now is try, you can try something else and try to make positive associations with the radio. So show her that something good happens when she gets around the radio. Give her a high value treat when you turn it on. Just make sure that you're going slowly at a pace that she's comfortable with. So if you start to notice that she's shaking while the radio is on, maybe it's time to just, give her a break from that. And in the meantime, while you're, doing your counter conditioning exercises and trying to make positive associations with that speaker, what I would recommend is try playing something that, like things that, for example, in the shelter, we know that are effective, like audiobooks. You can play something like Through a Dog's Ear. You can play some new age music, some classical. Make sure that it's at, an appropriate volume. If the dog tends to find the sound aversive and can't escape, then, that could also be increasing the anxiety. But I would certainly work on some desensitization exercises and try to build positive association. So anytime she gets around that speaker, you want to treat her. Anytime you turn on that speaker, you want to treat her. Okay. And, you can try and do those exercises a few times a day and just, see how it goes. So kind of just in conclusion, in regards to, dealing with separation anxiety, I want to emphasize that it's essential that your dog does not experience full-blown panic attack of, whatever's provoking his anxiety or fear. So you want to make sure that it's only a low level intensity, so that he is not going to be so frightened in the future. Otherwise, the dog is not going to be able to learn, and the dog's not going to be able to feel calm and comfortable in those situations. So during your treatment for separation anxiety, if your dog can't be left alone and, it's just too much, you can try to make some alternative arrangements. I know that it's difficult right now during the social distancing with business close, and you can't see friends and family, but when these orders are lifted, some options that you have, it's possible that you could arrange for like a family member or a friend to come and check on your dog when you're not there, give them a little bit of reprieve, take them outside, take them for a walk. For some people, doggy daycare is an option. And, basically what I would say is just start with the graduated absences, and just be calm whenever you are leaving and coming back. You just want to make sure that you are you're not making a big spectacle of it, just like it's anything else, just like another day. Okay. So that is what I have for you today. Thank you for bearing with me.
That was fantastic. We do have a couple of other questions. I do want to ask you. Rachel had typed in, my dog destroys crates. Is one of those high impact crates going to work?
Okay, so I would definitely, okay, so if you have, can I ask Rachel what type of crate she has now? Is it possible for me to?
Yeah, she's got a wire crate.
She's got a wire crate? Okay. So some dogs will feel more comfortable in a molded crate. So that's going to be like your plastic crate. And that's going to be something, for dogs that would feel more secure. Like if you notice that you have a dog that, will tend to like hide under the desk while you're working, or, lie at your feet under the table while you're eating, just that sort of thing. It's possible that the molded crate might be better for your dog. So I would definitely try that out, invest in it, because it could be, pretty dangerous if your dog is trying to break out and escape from the crate. Those escapes and things of that nature are actually associated with, like paw abrasions and broken teeth and things like that. So for sure, I would highly recommend, if you want to try like a molded crate, or one of those indestructible crates, but definitely get to working on making those positive associations with being alone, and try it just in short periods of time and build up. So even if it's just like a half an hour to an hour a day of leaving the dog alone, and if you want to see how they react, again, you can try just, filming them while you're gone. So that's what I would say.
That is fantastic information. So I don't see any more questions coming in from the audience, but I do see quite a few people out there. So hopefully you found this helpful. Thank you so much, Janie. This was fantastic. And thank you to everyone for attending today's Ask a Trainer webinar with the Humane Society of Macomb. For more information about the Humane Society of Macomb, you can visit our website at humanesocietyofmacomb.org. When you leave this session, you're going to get a brief 3-question survey. It shouldn't take too long, but if you wouldn't mind answering those questions to help us know if there are other topics that you would like to see in the future, or if this was helpful to you today, we really would appreciate you answering that. And on behalf of the entire Humane Society of Macomb, thank you so much for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day.